Hello, Carrots here. Welcome to part 16 of the 30 grandchildren badge attempt. We're getting less and less teens heading off to school each day. The bus is getting emptier and emptier as the teens gradually all age up to young adult. Here they are in the snow going to school, trying to keep their grades up to grade A so there won't be any problems when it comes time for them to age up. There are 3 very important birthdays for Sims. When they age from toddler to child, they need to have completed all of their toddler skills and read at least a few of their toddler skill books if you want to be able to choose the trait they get when they age up. Otherwise, the game will allocate them a trait and it could be anything. And when they age from child to teen, again, they must have completed their childhood skills. But of course, childhood skills are only cooking and blocks, and those 2 skills are quite easy. I usually make my children learn more than that. But they also need to do well at school, so it's best if they have managed to get to grade A in their schoolwork. And similarly, when the teens age from teen to young adult, if they haven't made it to grade A at school, well then they don't get to choose their trait on aging up. This is Wilfred. He is already a young adult. His imaginary friend was Byron, and Byron moved out in the last episode. Wilfred doesn't need to find the potion to turn an imaginary friend real, but he just wants to find more potions. He doesn't know very many yet, so we'll leave him there playing with the chemistry table. Candace is working on her gardening skill. She's gone down to their garden that's in the lower basement. I'm thinking it's about time we started planting a few more seeds. That's Lynette, and Dennis is behind her. Lynette is Wilfred's sister. Dennis is the presumed future husband of their other sister, Alicia, and Candace is the presumed future spouse of their brother, Robbie. At this point, Robbie's showing no interest in Candace. He's just playing guitar, and Candace has started to get a bit anxious because she wants to get married and she wants her 5 children. So I'm a bit concerned that we might lose her. She might run off with somebody else, and if she does that, I will have to let her go. Okay, there's Robbie, and Wilfred's now found another potion. I hope he soon decides he's found enough. Demetria was still a teen because she hadn't completed her lifetime wish, but she has just completed it, and she got 32,500 lifetime happiness points, and she now has a perfect private aquarium. She had to get 13 different types of fish. They all had to be perfect, and they each had to go into a fish bowl. So now here she is feeding her fish. She's got to look after them now. They'll all die. I kept them in her inventory until she had all 13 perfect fish. She's been fishing ever since she aged up to child from being a toddler, and her brothers and sisters helped her as well by giving her any perfect fish that they caught. She hadn't already caught one of that type herself. So Demetria is now ready to age up, as is Dolores, one of her sisters. And that is Dolores there. She's just trying to fix the hi-fi sound system. It keeps breaking. She has completed her lifetime wish. She needed to get to level 10 in painting and guitar. So we'll be having a birthday party for Demetria and Dolores. And as you can see, the house is still plagued by piles of dirty laundry. I'm determined to get to the bottom of it, get it under control at some point. I've actually bought them 2 new washers and dryers and put them downstairs near where the chemistry tables are, just through the doorway near there. But it hasn't helped much. They've still got piles of dirty laundry. I think we're just going to have to be moving Sims out. That'll help a lot. We've got about 24 Sims in the house at the moment. Way too many. Javin knows there's something up. He's found a birthday cake and he's standing there patiently waiting to see what happens next. He's already aged up. He doesn't want to age up again. Not yet. Oh, he's thinking about that genie. She is trouble. So it looks like Dolores. No, it's Demetria who's going to have her birthday first. She's the one who just got her lifetime wish with all the fish. Dolores completed her lifetime wish a while ago. That's Gerri on the right, their mother. And on the left, that's Kendall blowing his whistle. Lynette, she's in her sleepwear. And next to Lynette, on the other side, is Candace. So where did Byron come? Well, obviously Byron hasn't moved out yet. I thought he'd moved out. There he is there, blowing hard on his whistle. So there, Demetria's candles are now all blown out. We had Byron's birthday at the very end of the last episode, and he caught on fire and there was all sorts of drama, so probably just didn't get around to moving him out yet. He should have moved out, but he hasn't yet. Oh look, there she goes. Demetria is aging up, turning into a young adult. And she's got her new trait. I think it was family oriented. She's got to have lots of babies, so that would be appropriate for her. And now they can all eat cake. I do believe Demetria might just be going to end up in stylist very shortly. She looks like she needs a bit of a makeover. The whole household is enjoying the chance for having a party, but only 8 of them will actually get a piece of cake. But not to worry, there'll be another cake shortly. Byron left the party early. He was so excited. He's looking forward to being able to live on his own, and he's decided to move out immediately. He won't wait for the next party. And of course, there's no spare houses just across the road from them anymore, so he's got to go further down the road to get a house to live in. These houses are much more colourful. There he is. He's arrived at home. This is his brand new home. He's going to live there alone, for the time being at least. Back at the main house, the Sims are getting down to the business of having another birthday party. And I've turned on a couple of party machines there. That's not smoke, it's fog coming out of that fog-making machine. And it's set to be random, so you'll see bubbles and confetti and all sorts of things. There's one on each side of the room. I just thought that would be an interesting addition to the birthday mayhem. So far, we've got Lynette and Candace and Javin have turned up. And that's Sharonda with a green top on. She's still a teen, but she is going to age up very soon. Not in this episode though. She wants to be a dynamic DNA profiler, and she can't do that as a teen. She needs to age up. So the candles have been blown out. That's Demetria turned up with her new brown outfit with the fancy gold belt. I think the next pair to age up will be her and Kobe, and that is Kobe in front of her there with the reddish hair. He wants a private museum. He's got to have 20,000 simoleons worth of relics in his private museum. He can do that as a teen, so we will see that happen, possibly in the next episode. There's Robbie. He's come down to this party, and the genie. She's a troublemaker. She's irresistible. And here we go. Dolores is now aged up. I guess she'll have to get family oriented as well, because she's going to be having at least 5 babies. Yeah, that's the idea. That'll also be a trait that will be in common with the sim that she's going to end up marrying. Oh, there's Felicia turned up. Oh, there's flames behind them now, but that's not the cake on fire. That's that machine that I've turned on, one of the special effects. That outfit doesn't look too bad on her, does it? But I'll take her into stylist anyway. Dennis has arrived. Javin's got a piece of cake. Again, we're only going to get 8 of them to actually eat cake, because there's only 8 pieces of cake in the cake. I can make it feed everybody, but I have to stop anybody from going to it autonomously and tell the birthday girl to serve the cake to everyone, and she'll do that. But it takes a bit of coordination to do it. Now we've got lasers. I think I'll leave them to it. We've seen lots of birthday parties here, and I can't remember the name of that girl that just sat down with the brown dress on. It starts with an L, I'm pretty sure of that. So the cake's all gone. That's it. Time to move on. There's Gwen. She's going to be marrying Javin if the genie doesn't get him first. That white cupboard in the corner there, that is actually their new fridge that I've put in down here. I don't think I showed it to you last episode, I just told you about it. And there it is, and they've got a new dishwasher. The other one kept breaking. Let's hope this one lasts a bit longer. I think it's the dishwasher that came with Into the Future. Hello, Wilfred's up here playing on the arcade machine. He's playing something with alien attacks by the look of it. In case you didn't realise, that lump of blobby, stringy, black, brown stuff on the wall there, that's sea sludge that I've had mounted a fish, and Demetria, she's got one in the fish bowl when she wanted to get a lifetime wish. Well, here's China. I gave up on Gwen and Javin at home. I had them almost ready to get engaged. Then I had a couple of birthday parties. The next time I looked at them, their relationship was in the red zone, and it was all about that genie. So I brought them to China alone. We left the genie behind. A genie came out of Robbie's lamp. Besides working on their relationship, there's a few other tasks I've got for Javan and Gwen in China. Firstly, they're going to buy items that they'll need for home. They don't appear to have the recipe books or skill books for China, and the fishing books as well. So they'll be buying them and whatever else they need from the food store, the general store, and the relics store. And the other main task I've got for them is with a mind to Kobe's lifetime wish. To get his lifetime wish, Kobe will need to have 20,000 simoleons worth of current relics. So I had the idea of getting this pair to collect a lot of relics while they're in China to add to Kobe's museum that he's got back home. But then I went and read in Carl's guide. It gave a lot of information on how to do that, and it led me to believe that Kobe was going to have to go to the World Adventure Worlds and collect all of the relics himself. So I decided I'd just get Javan and Gwen to collect them anyway, just in case. So this is an experiment. Javan went into the general goods store and he bought a few bits and pieces that would help them just in case they decided to do some tombs. I was thinking about mostly getting them to excavate, dig spots, but they could go into tombs, who knows. I'm not going to be chasing tomb objects or anything, just relics for Kobe, and they're going to get the martial arts equipment as well. I was thinking that there is a huge tomb underneath the market, and it is often full of valuable items that they could collect. Don't know if there'll be very many relics in there though. So I sent Javan around to dig in that hole in the ground that gets them into that big tomb. Eventually he got covered in bugs, which didn't make him very happy, but he persevered, and then he was in. The steps suddenly appeared. So Javan can go down those steps now. The entrance to the tomb anyway. He's still got to find his way into the tomb itself. And I might send Gwen down there with him. Between them, they managed to solve all of the puzzles that were preventing them from getting access to the main part of the tomb. And here they are. They're going to work their way through the tomb just looking for treasure. There is an adventure related to this tomb, but they're not going to complete that adventure. They're just going to search the tomb for treasure. In this tomb, Javan's going to do most of the demolition of the rubble piles. Gwen's gone off and found herself a spot with a possible floor trap. And when she discovers it, she's going to have to disarm it. This is the way to the big room in the tomb that's got most of the treasure in it. So they have to go through that floor trap. She has to find it. There it is. And now she can do the hard work of disarming it. Let's hope she's successful. Meanwhile, Javan has managed to finish demolishing that rubble pile and he's found lots of ancient coins. They're not going to do him a lot of good though, because they're not going to be working on their visa point. Ah, there she is. She's just disarmed that trap. We won't go through into that big room just yet. There's plenty more to find. And she's gone into another smaller room and opened up a treasure chest. And she found a money bag and some smelted mercury. Javan's found another rubble pile. They don't have Pangu's axe, and I'm not going to take them to look for Pangu's axe. It can stay securely in its rightful hiding place. It is in China. They could stay here and find it, but I don't want them to do that. This is not about tombs. This is about getting a badge for a sim having 30 grandchildren. So he's found a relic, and that's one of the aims of going through the tomb, was to get relics. Relics are fairly rare, but we need to get 20,000 simoleons worth of relics to see if that will satisfy Kobe's lifetime wish, which is to have a private museum worth 20,000 simoleons. A pair of them individually solve all of the puzzles they come across and clear out the rest of the tomb until eventually they come to this big room. The big room that is beyond the floor trap that Gwen was able to disarm earlier. And this is the final room in the tomb. They're mainly finding gems and ancient coins in this room, though I don't think they got any relics out of it. If they were doing the adventure that relates to this tomb, this is where they'd find the object that they'd need to take to report in with. Javan and Gwen had enjoyed their time in the tomb, working together to collect as many valuables as possible. They were needing to collect things to help pay for their future home together. When they emerged out of the tomb, it was dark. Instead of going directly to the base camp so they could have a sleep and get ready for the next day, they decided to take a detour to the academy where they could try out the martial arts equipment. Javan had bought some at the general store. I'd like to give this a go while we're still here. He was sure that the others would want him to demonstrate. Eventually they were just too tired, but they still didn't go back to the base camp. They decided instead they would spend a romantic night alone in a tent at a campground. So they ran off through the wilderness in the dark, and soon they were sleeping soundly in their tent. But they needn't have worried about being alone and getting attacked in the night, because the paparazzi were there to take photos of everything. Gwen was up early next morning preparing breakfast over the coals, and Bay Louie was there to take over the paparazzi job, taking lots of photos of the tent where Javan continued to sleep. Then Bay Louie decided he needed more photos of Gwen, just as Gavin woke up, and he came out to sit by the fire and have some breakfast as well. He had some fruit in his pocket. He thought he'd start with that. Bay Louie joined them and cooked himself a lettuce over the open flame. Javan decided he was still hungry after all and took some lynx and some other vegetables out of his pocket and started cooking them over the open flame. By this time, Gwen's food was cooked, so she ate it. It was beautifully cooked as well by the look of it. Bay Louie wasn't taking any chances. He kept cooking his lettuce. He wanted to make sure it was well cooked. Suddenly, Bay Louie's lettuce was on fire, and it was all black. I think he maybe shouldn't have cooked it for quite such a long time. Javan's still working on his. He seems to be checking it out. Looks like it's cooked. His sausages and his vegetables. Bay Louie is eating his lettuce, but he doesn't look very happy about it. And Gwen's had her breakfast now. She's just got to wait for Javan to finish his, so she'll read a story on her tablet for a while. Might be checking her emails. Eventually, Bay Louie had eaten all he wanted to eat of his burnt lettuce, and he got up and said goodbye and left them to it. Just what a final photo of Javan sitting there. Goodbye, Bay Louie. Javan and Gwen are very pleased to see him gone. Finally, they're well rested, they've eaten a good breakfast, and they're alone. It's time for a bit of getting to know each other and some serious flirting. Gwen was awarded an additional trait. She became a handy sim while she was standing there chatting with Javan. They stood there chatting for about an hour. They were just so engrossed in each other. And then they decided it was time to liven things up a bit. Oh, that hurt. Oh, he got her back. Look at that. Pillow fight. Looks like Javan's got some sort of odour problem. I tried all sorts of things, but he just kept on glowing. Couldn't get rid of it, no matter how clean I made him. So we're just going to have to live with it. The pillow fight wasn't without incident, of course. There was one point where they came to a serious disagreement, but then they continued on and made up, and all was good in the end. Ah. She didn't like that. Oh, she's telling him too. See, I told you they got to a bit of a disagreement, but he's going to talk himself out of being in too much trouble, and she knows she's going to have to end up marrying him, so she's going to have to be friends with him. She only came into their household so she could marry Javan, and she knows that too. Luckily, she really likes him, and he really likes her too. They stand there chatting for ages. So Javan got the shower and the can out, but it didn't help him very much. So they talked, and after he'd used the shower in a can, they got the pillow fight going again. And they had some fun and improved their relationship. A lot more time was spent chatting and getting to know each other and staring into each other's eyes. And pillow fighting too, of course. And then Javan was awarded a new trait. He got the extra trait of great kisser. Each of them will get a positive moodlet every time they kiss. Thought that'd be good if they're going to do a lot of kissing. Things are starting to get a bit romantic, and they're flirting. They're making their way through all of the series of romantic interactions, from hugging, holding hands, flirting. There, they're holding hands now. I want them to become boyfriend and girlfriend before we leave this campsite. It's going to take a while, but you won't have to watch all of that. Much later, Javan gets a sudden urge. He simply must give her a spur-of-the-moment kiss. Will she accept his kiss? Or will she reject? Oh, she's accepted. And they're having a nice kiss now. Each of them will now have a positive moodlet. Oh, 1,000 lifetime happiness points. She must have had a wish to kiss Javan, and it came true. A certain amount of talking and flirting and kissing continued until finally Javan had worked up the courage to ask her if they could be boyfriend and girlfriend. And of course, she said yes, and he gave her a little kiss. And they held hands. Now they're boyfriend and girlfriend. Isn't that romantic? I think it's time we moved on and did another big kiss first. And there's more things to do in China. We're only here for 3 days. We've used up 2 of our 3 days now already, or almost 2 days. This is day 2. They need to find some relics for Kobe. But now they've decided they just want to kiss. They do seem to be very happy together. Let's hope it continues. Let's hope we can put all thoughts of that dreadful genie out of their minds. Yes, there she goes. It's time to move on. And Javan's going to stay close behind. Well, this isn't out looking for relics for Kobe. They've gone back to the base camp. Maybe it was just too hot outside. They've come here to cool down and do some reading while they were at it. And they've come across another paparazzi who is just taking the opportunity to get as many photos of the backs of their heads as possible. They had a little sleep while they were at the base camp, and then they woke up in the middle of the night and went fishing. Gwen was fishing in the pool near the abandoned barn, but Javan had an ambition to catch a death fish, and of course he had to go to the graveyard to do that. Gwen didn't really want to go to a spooky old graveyard, so they're fishing in 2 different places, and look, there is a death fish. You can only get them at the graveyard after midnight, or in the wishing well, in their basement. There's a vampire fish there as well. The big black one is the death fish, and the little black one is the vampire fish. After standing there fishing for hours at the spooky graveyard, he finally got his wish, and he caught his death fish and got 1,500 lifetime happiness points as reward. I think he caught the vampire fish in the end as well, but we don't want us to watch them fish there all night. That's enough for now. Next morning, Javan's phone rang early, and he decided to accept the opportunity to go and explore a tomb in the halls of the Lost Army, because we find that one in the marketplace. So there he is reporting in, getting the keystone that he's going to need to get into the tomb. He hurries to the building where the tomb is hidden, goes inside. He's in a bit of a hurry because this is their final day, and they've just got to fit in a little bit of exploring before they've got to leave. We won't go through the tomb with him because it's very tiny and pokey, and we've done all the tombs in the Isla Paradiso Bunch playlist too, if you're interested in seeing all the details of the completion of all the tombs. So he stood on the floor switch that he needed to stand on, and that gave him his entrance into the tomb. Meanwhile, Gwen had been given an adventure too, and here she is trying to open the door to gain access to the dragon cave. She's only got to go in and see what she can see and then come and report back in. So it's a very short adventure. This cave's got a little bit more room in it, so we might just see a little bit of what she does. And it's raining. Now she just needs to go straight down the end through that door. When she gets through that door, she has to go down another hallway and through another door before she gets the answer that she's looking for. Once Gwen gets the answer she's seeking, she runs out of the dragon cave in the rain, and she finds her way back to the academy where she has to report in. She finally finds Zhang Hua in an upstairs room at the academy. It's lined with mirrors and is used for practicing martial arts. But that wasn't the end of her adventures. Now she's got to go and look for some lapis lazuli. Of course, she's going to find more than she needs because because it's so easy to find when you can see just where it is from above. And once she's got the lapis lazuli, she makes her way back to the academy, and this time she's told to go and look for a relic and bring it back to the academy. But she's already got a relic in her inventory, so she just stays there and hands it in. And then she turns it into a sort of a social occasion where she chats with the Sims that are there, and then she decides that she really wants to have a go at this practice equipment. While Gwen is chatting at the academy, Javan is reporting in about the success of his adventure, and I just thought those mountains were so pretty in the background. It's not the sort of colour you usually see when you're in China, but there's a storm, there's lightning and thunder, and it's just getting dark. Now, Gwen is going to buy some things from the special merchant. Just happens to be the special merchant, that's Zhuanghua, who she's been reporting into. And they've got a lot of ancient coins, but they don't have much in the way of visa points, so they can't buy much. There's only 3 basic items they can get, which they don't usually need, but she thought she'd buy some anyway, just for the sake of buying something from the special merchant. She bought some pemmican, some potion of liquid courage, and some sands of time. They might come in useful, but the big thing is she's going to get to have a go at the training dummy, and she's going to keep going at it no matter how bad she is to start with. She's going to keep training until she gets her white belt. So good on you, Gwen. You're putting in an excellent effort. We'll just cut a heap out of this so you can see her get her white belt. And Bao Louie's turned up. I wonder if he's still a paparazzi. In most of my games, he's usually the special merchant. Not in this one. And there she is in her white belt. Very good. And she's showing off her muscles. She's so proud of herself. Quite an achievement. But Gwen has to go now. She's arranged to meet Javan back at the base camp, and she's running a little late. And there's one more thing they have to do before the end of the video. They have to travel to Egypt. So we'll see them set off to Egypt. So there's Javan, he's at the base camp, and Gwen will be there shortly. Meanwhile, Javan is going to dial up the travel agent, and they can set off for Egypt. And in the next episode, we will see them in Egypt and France before they go back home to have their wedding. I was hoping to do it all in this one episode, but unfortunately it doesn't seem to have worked out. I could do it if the episode went for about an hour. That could be a bit long for you though. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And if you have enjoyed it, please give it a like. If you don't want to miss future episodes, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. So thank you for watching. Bye bye for now, and happy simming.